G'day everybody, welcome back to another episode of Crafts by Tim. Today we're going to be making another knife. Now I know that I said that I wasn't going to be making any more knives this year, but I really want to test this thing out. We have a little bit of an issue here. It's summer and the weather is getting a little bit hotter. It means that lighting the forge is kind of difficult right now. But I have a solution. There is a time of the day when it's nice and cold, and that is about 4 o'clock in the morning. So the plan is that if I can get all of the rough profiling of this blade all pretty well done, finished up, if I can get all of that done in a timely manner, then what I'll try and do is I'll try and wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and light the forge, do three normalizing cycles, 1 heat treat, and possibly even a temper, all before 6, hopefully. But nonetheless, we have a lot of work to do, so let's jump straight in. So this is some 1084 steel. So it's a wee little knife. Look at that, how cute that is. But I also realized that I had chunked up this piece of 1084 pretty heftily when I made a previous knife. So I decided, you know what? I'm gonna take this, and with using pretty well just a scrap end of this, I will try and make the following knife. Now, challenges for this build is to only use 3 different tools. A, the drill press, B, that thing, and C, an angle grinder. And yeah, let's get started. It's actually been running really nicely, and I should probably mention now the new tracking knob should be getting here any day now, and I should be able to replace that. Now, where is it from here? Into the forge for the first time to do 3 normalizing cycles and a heat treat, all before 6 o'clock tomorrow morning when it starts to warm up a little bit. My main concern here is that I've actually made this pretty damn thin. Like, it's a lot thinner than a lot of the blades that I normally do when they get to this sort of stage. On the blade, it's only about 0.5 of a millimeter. Obviously opens up the doors to a lot of different problems such as cracking, warping.
Watch my trick, you bastards, or I'll kill you! Brilliant, eh? Oh dear. Wrong finger.
Hey, Vivian! Vivian! I think you cut off one of your fingers!
Mainly just cracking and warping, actually. I think that's pretty well it. Basically, I'm just gonna rush through the rest of the process, and then when we get back to the grinder, I'll talk a little bit more about it.
Good morning, everybody. If you're looking for a reason to sub to the channel, it's currently 4:50. We got the forge set up. So
Okay, so technically, this right here is the highest grit belt that I currently own. So this is a 120 grit belt. I want to take this up a little bit higher. I have this bit of a solution. It's about half of a solution. So here I have these two very interesting belts. These are scotch-brite belts. So they're like those scotch-brite pads that you can get, but they're belts for a 2x48 inch grinder, which is awesome. It's recommended that you go up to 120 grit onto the coarse belt of the scotch-brites. So hopefully I'll be able to get a really good finish out of this, but first I have to take this up to, I don't know, I guess I'd be willing to go up to like a 400 grit finish, and then I'll try and try with the fine. By the way, when it comes to doing the heat treating, we got a new oven, which is great. I don't think I'm allowed to use it though. I'm not gonna say that I was the reason why the last one broke, but yeah, knives aren't for ovens. Worth mentioning, new tracking knob. In fact, new tracking arm. They sent me out an entire new arm, and I really appreciate it because, like, Artisan supplies have been really helpful with this. We have the blade at a rough sort of 1,200 grit. We're going to see what these scotch-brite belts can do.
there's the blade. So that's only off the very fine belt. That's the sort of result that you get. It's a really nice sort of I guess a high grit satin finish. And in comparison to the 1200 grit finish, it was really quick. And yes, it was sort of coming back from 1200. But you could probably achieve about the same thing with only a 600 grit finish. Yeah, it was a lot faster. And B, well, it actually looks just more or less just as good. Like, it really depends on what you're trying to achieve when you're going for one of these sorts of finishes. But I don't know, I really like it. And that's just after a quick touch up with a 1500? Yeah, 1500 grit. So just a little bit of hand sanding after that, after the finish up with the very fine belt, and it's actually pretty nice. That's actually not a bad finish. I'm pretty happy with that. Now, although this is just sort of straight off the belt, and this is only 120 grit, this isn't like massively sharp, but once I get some better belts, I should hopefully have better results. But I'm pretty happy with that. So that was actually a super fun build, and it actually turned out really nicely. I really like the general feel of it. But this video wasn't necessarily about the build of the knife itself. It's more about the build, about the general setup of the grinder. This thing is amazing. It's super easy to use. And it's easy to use in all sorts of setups. You don't need to spend an awful long period of time trying to figure out what's the best sort of setup for this particular grinder. It's sort of, I don't know how to explain it, but it's really easy to change it around. So if you're not quite happy with the way that the belt's running, or it seems, it seems like it's not quite running exactly where you need it to run, or in exactly the right, I don't know, orientation, I guess. All of that is really quick and easy to sort of adjust. I think it takes like 30 seconds to change the belt, and same thing for changing the way that the pattern's set. It's all really quick and really easy. I'm absolutely loving it. It's a super easy machine to sort of just pick up and use. You don't need to think about it too much. As for the Scotch-brite belts, even with just two, I was pretty happy with the end result. Not happy enough to sort of say that that's exactly the way that I wanted it to be. Did it up to about 1500 grit, and that was a much nicer finish, and I was a lot happier than what I was with the very fine grit on this. Now, that's not saying that I'm not happy with the grit finish on this. It's just for this particular blade, I didn't like it as much as I liked the 1500 grit finish afterwards. But that being said, this meant that I could skip. I could probably go straight from 400 grit to the coarse and then the fine, and I could probably skip from 400 to 1500 real quick. And that's the thing that I love about it. It means that this is all powered, and it's gonna save me so much time. Like, doing these belts, it only takes about 2 or 3 minutes on either side to, say, all right, I'm happy to move to the next grit. And then for the very fine, I spent a little bit of extra time to make sure that it was just right so that I had as little to remove and as little to fix as possible when it actually came to doing it again with the 1500 grit. This isn't the highest grit belt that you can get. You can get your regular 240 grit belts, and then you can get I think the next one's 400 grit, and then 600 grit, and 800 grit. And then you can get your, was it Trizac belts, I think? Which are like 800 grit plus or something. I'm not entirely sure about those ones. I haven't watched any videos on them, but I know that they're very good belts, and that it weighs up for the price that you're paying for them. For the price of the grinder, which was including the motor, and if you want more information about this, you can watch the previous video where I actually did the unboxing and the setup of this. For grinder and the motor, it set me back I think 1,140 odd. And then belts on top of that, I paid about $100 for. I got 8 different belts. Oh no, I got 11 belts for that. So 6 Zychrono ones, and then 3 aluminium oxide ones, and then the 2 scotch-brite belts. The scotch-brite belts were the most expensive. They were $22 each, so they're pretty expensive. Once these ones wear out, I think I would buy more, but I don't know whether or not I'd buy the more coarse versions, like the coarse, the medium version, because I've got the fine and very fine here. I don't think I would buy the coarse and the medium, but I might be willing to buy more fine and very fine. I'm not sure, but yeah, it just depends on, you know, what you're actually looking for. And once again, that's this entire thing. It's completely customizable, so you can and of course the attachments that you can get for this thing, they're a bit expensive. But if you've got very specific jobs for them, and you know, if you're say making straight razors and stuff like that, where you need a nice concave bevel and you're going to be selling them, it'll probably warrant the amount that you'll spend on a 10-inch contact wheel, which will run you back about $400. Attachments aren't cheap. Belts, they vary, and you can get your standard ones for about, I think it was like $10 a pack or $12 a pack. Something like that. But yeah, if anyone else owns one of these things, let me know. Let me know what you think of them. I try to answer every single comment that you guys leave for me. I really appreciate you guys' support and stuff like that. It's super helpful. Thank you for everything. Thank you for this. For those of you who don't know, this channel is a very big supporter of me going out and getting these sorts of things. I'm not necessarily getting paid from YouTube, but it's the education that comes with the joy of creation that makes me want to do more of this sort of thing. Thank you everybody so much for watching. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, as it helps me out an awful lot. And I'll see you all in the next episode. Until then, remember to stay safe, happy crafting, and as always, cheers.